Hey everybody, this is the Atomic Clock, Gene Hoglan from Dark Angel. Here we go to 11 on knac.com. Crank it up.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Thanks so much for being on this. This is going to be for knac.com, and this is for a thing we call We Go to 11. So at the tail end, I'm going to ask you a Spinal Tap-esque type story, which at this point, the sequel just came out yesterday. Now, I haven't seen it. I don't know if you've gotten a chance. I mean, you're in the middle of this tour, so I don't know if you caught a glimpse of it at all.
Just the trailer when we got a chance to go catch the re-release of Spinal Tap about a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah, the original.
Right.
They put it for like one night at the local theater. So
Right.
Myself and some of my family members, we went and caught that, and that was nice. But I haven't seen the new one, but I probably see the original Spinal Tap more than any other movie ever. I've probably seen it in the 40s.
Yeah.
In 40 amount of times.
I'm with you. So, Gene, real quick, to catch up, I know the last time, I'm based out of Oregon, so we hit all the Portland, Oregon shows and things like that. But the last time you were in the area, now you're due to be back with Dark Angel on this tour on the 11th, I think, of October. So Saturday, perfect day for a show, right? Weekend.
Right.
But you did two shows, 2 nights at the Hawthorne with Death to All. So if you could catch us up on that particular experience, doing that tour, and I guess the critical, great, awesome reception that this band had.
Kick ass. Well, we always love to hear that. But yeah, that was on the Screen the Perseverance tour, which was just last year.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic couple of nights, where the first night we would play Death's first album, Scream Bloody Gore, in its entirety. The second night we would do its final record, Sound of Perseverance. And it was just a real kick-ass celebration of both records. And it was one thing that our booking agent requested from us, like, hey guys, would you be into doing these 2 records? Because that wasn't really on our radar to do something like that. And fortunately it was a resounding success. The shows were all sold out everywhere, and so it was a fantastic run. And which leads us to this coming November, when we are going to be going on the Symbolic Healing tour, which is we're only doing one night because we don't have it really in the schedule to be able to do 2. We don't have that much time to do it, and we want to hit as many cities as we can. So we're going to be doing Symbolic in its entirety, and then just a ton of the tracks from Spiritual Healing, plus the typical Death bangers, a whole bunch of other tunes. But we're going to focus on Symbolic in its entirety because that's going to be its 30th anniversary, and so we're going to have some Spiritual Healing as well. So it's going to be a great tour for that.
Now, Gene, as a fan, I mean, is there anything to document this? Is there a plan to document that particular show? And were any of the other shows documented? I think the reason I ask is because I, as a fan, I mean, I could only attend one of the nights that you guys performed in Portland, Oregon. I elected to go the first night, but I missed out on the second. And I was kicking myself because of the fact that it's like, you start seeing some of the posts online from people that were there. And it's like, man, I shouldn't have passed on that one. But, because of work and whatnot, sometimes you can't do back-to-backs. But is there any plans to document, or was anything documented?
You know what? We did have somebody come out and film. And so I'm not really sure what the intent for any of that is, but we've never really discussed, like, hey, we're going to dedicate whatever show we filmed to like a DVD or anything like that. But there were people that were documenting it and filming it. I remember our Denver shows were filmed, and I'm not sure what the intent is for any form of release, but since Death to All is such a kind of a transient project, we get together when we can, when we have the time and the schedules to do it. And a lot of times, we have a very brief window of time that we can work with. And so we do our best to get as much into that like small couple of month window kind of thing as we can. But we'll see about documenting. You never know.
Yeah, nice. Well, let's get down to business because we're talking Dark Angel, and you guys have a new record out. It was out about a week ago. Extinction Level Event. Now, I recall hearing about this being in the works probably about at least a decade ago, right? So catch us up to speed on how this finally got rolling.
Well, I'm just trying to get that glare out of your thing there, man. I'm backstage at one.
Yeah, right.
So got to get that glare out of your head.
There you go.
Well, when we first got together back in 2014 and started playing shows, we were, we were just doing shows. There wasn't really anything past that. And then when Jim approached like me with this, just a demo, and he had said, "This is something I've worked on real recently." And I thought, well, hey man, if Dark Angel ever records or does anything, or puts a new song in the set or whatever, these are my ideas that I have going on right at the moment. And I was so excited by that, that I had a ton, it just juiced my writing, where I was like, yeah, let's do a new record and all that. And everybody's like, okay, cool. Sounds great. And what I should have said in the press was nothing. I should have just kept that, but I sometimes have no filter. So the next interview I did that, hey man, you guys are doing Dark Angel shows. Any plans for recording? Yes, there is. And then of course, the headline was picked up. There was probably a ton of other things said in that interview, but that was what was said. And so that sparked, I'm glad it sparked people's, excitement. But we weren't anywhere near, getting close to getting the record out when I was babbling about it. So okay. I'll take the blame for that. I should have just kept it tight, kept the gums from flapping the way they do. But we finally got to the point where now our record is out, and unfortunately, of course, along the way, we've lost our founding member, Jim Durkin, so, at the time when we were starting to record the record, he was making, just arrangements to pull back from the band in many ways, like from the live performances. And we knew that he wasn't going to be a part of the initial recording too much. But Jim put into place his replacement, Laura Christine, and so her presence on the album is pretty massive. And her, when I started moving forward with the writing of it, and Jim was a little bit MIA, which was kind of, very, it was not uncommon for Jim to be MIA from the text threads or the email threads, or not returning phone calls. That had happened over the years. And now, none of us were, that surprised by, Jim's, and because he's always said, look, there's going to be times when I'm not going to be around a lot. He had a very, very lucrative career outside of the music industry after he had left the band in 1989. And so, for Jim to disappear from text threads or not answer calls was, not surprising. And so when I was moving forward, when I had the time to start, okay, because Jim and I had gotten together a number of times before the pandemic. And this was towards the end of the pandemic when I was like, hey, Jim, I have some, I'm calling them up, I'm sending them texts. And I just said, look, I've been working on a number of ideas here, and I'm just going to tell you what, I'm going to brack them onto GarageBand, and I'm going to put them on the text thread for everybody. I'm going to put them, I'm sending them to you as well. And if you have any thoughts on any of them, just, let's get together at some point. I'm sure we will, and we'll work some of your stuff into here, because we do have what eventually became the title track, Extinction Level Event. That when Jen showed me that song, it had a working title to it. But we had that song on the go, and then so I was just sending him all the riffs and stuff that I was writing. And fortunately, Lara Christine was there to help put her stamp on everything, because her vibe is all over this record. Her style. Because I've worked with Lara for 17 years now, so her guitar playing, she writes my favorite riffs like ever. And so I'm definitely influenced by a lot of her style. So her style is all over this record, and she actually, threw down some riffs. She got the best riffs on the record, if you have.
Right.
But so that, which now all of that transpired to get us here to 2025, where the new album is out. Currently, it's available only through reversedrecords.com. So everybody go check out reversedrecords.com. And, we have a number of packages together for, because all music, if you're not going to go streaming with it, all music is pretty much mail order anyway. So, we've got definitely all the shipping is taken care of. We've got that kind of worked into everything. We've got digital packages. We've got the vinyl packages. We've got the deluxe package, and that sort of thing. All of it's really exciting, and just kind of it's definitely for the fans who've supported Dark Angel forever. We've got some really special things here. Just check out reversedrecords.com if you're interested. And fortunately, I'm sure KNAC has been playing a ton of the new stuff, and our good friend Jose Mangan over at Sirius XM Liquid Metal, he's been pumping tons. I get the screenshots from people in their cars where they just take a screenshot of their little iPad thingy on their car, their little display, and it's Liquid Metal, Dark Angel Woke Up the Blood, or whatever it is. So that's pretty fun. So we appreciate everybody's support, and reversedrecords.com is the way to check it out. We're so happy with the record. I'm stoked with it. Like, this album's just crushing. And a ton of my friends who are hearing the record, a lot of my associates and, my good pals in the industry, they've gotten their hands on it. And, I'm just getting tons of thumbs up from everybody. It is very Dark Angel. That's the best way I can put it.
Right. And I will say, I ordered like you said, they have various different packages. I got the signed vinyl, signed CD, and it was under $50 with shipping. So, you can't go wrong there. That got shipped, so that's on its way to me. And you guys also offer a download of the album, so you can check it out right away. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff.
Right. And that's why, a couple of folks have asked about, how come it's not on Spotify and things like that. And that's just because right now, just the current state of streaming, there's been a number of artists who are pulling their stuff from Spotify, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. Do you want everybody to have access to your music? Of course you do. This is just the best option for us and the fans to be able to hear our music immediately. I know that we are giving up, because we haven't placed it on Spotify, because if you start taking a look at the terms of use with Spotify, they are making some massive changes right now, and those are kind of uncomfortable. There's a lot of stuff going on that they are now their new stuff is happening, and I'm no expert at this, but I've just got to read the terms of some of these changes. I'm like, man, I can't be comfortable with that right at this moment. If something changes somewhere down the road, yes, of course, but right now it is just like the music industry is not here to protect those who are creating the music within the industry. This is another situation where it's like, wow, this is it right at this moment. It's just best for us to do this. I'm going to always tell people, check out reverserecords.com. Man, that's the best way to hear Dark Angel right now. And I want everybody to hear the music. So definitely, go check it out there.
Yeah. One of the things that you said, the album is crushing. I've heard that from other people as well. One of the other things I hear right after crushing is extreme. I don't know. I mean, does that set well with you? I mean, it does have this modern edge to it that does lean more towards the extreme type of metal sound. I don't know if you would agree.
Dark Angel, if extreme music is a music, Dark Angel is forefathers of it.
Yeah.
Right. Darkness Descends was there are so many people in all of the true extreme music, extreme metal, whatever it is. Tons of those folks have come to me and said, hey man, Darkness Descends is what I cut my teeth on. I'd never heard anything like that, and you could go to anybody and I'll tell you,
yeah,
Darkness Descends was a game changer.
Yeah.
So then we helped invent the game, and we are going to keep adding to that game, and we're going to keep altering that game as it suits us. Like this album, sure, it's but I mean, God, there's a whole lot of unlistenable musics out there, and by unlistenable, I just mean like to the average, just lay person who's like, man,
right.
I like my stuff that I hear on the radio, kind of thing. There's a lot of music like that out there that is truly extreme. The production is, whoa, wow, that's crazy. Or the music is like, oh man, that's just nonstop blast beat for 5 minutes, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that stuff is super extreme. I think this music is, for me, very listenable and also very mandatory as a metal album. Like for me, this is my opinion. This is an album that you just don't want to miss. Like you don't want to. There's so many albums that I've come to 3 years after they came and went, and then I discovered the record. I was like, oh, no wonder this was so well received.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. I mean, so this is one of those albums where you want to catch it right now while it's coming out and hot, and I don't know, you feel like, hey, man, I heard it back when. So
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so pardon the noise here. I'm back.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
Gear getting loved in.
So Gene, as far as any other instruments, I mean, we know you're a monster on the kit, on the percussion, but are there any other instruments that you play on, like a guitar or anything like that?
Well, I'm almost as long as I have played drums, I have played guitar.
Okay.
And my presence on Dark Angel albums throughout history as a guitarist is pretty well documented. I've always played, and a lot of times it's just from necessity.
Okay.
It's like, hey, Hoglan, you wrote these crazy, stupid riffs. You play them.
Yeah, right.
And so, or else I'm the person in the studio that day that, pick up the guitar, play the guitar, So that's just how it sometimes works, But everybody has contributed their guitar playing to this album. And so I would like to make it where, on the next album,
Mm-hmm.
it's so kind of completed in advance, because this was such kind of you have a tiny window to write it, and then you've got a tiny window to get it recorded. And in order for the expeditiousness, that's even a word. It's just jump in there and just take care of everything that you can. I played bass, I play guitar, I always have. So any sort of stringed instrument, I can figure it out, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah.
so there you go. So
There
yeah,
you go.
I played guitar for 40 plus years
Mhm.
now. So there you go.
Yeah.
I've always said, as a drummer, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But as a rhythm guitarist, I rip.
There you rip.
I
Hey,
can't
Gene,
play leads to save my life, but
so I'll throw this question out because, you know, it's one thing that, I mean, obviously we're aware of just by appearance and stuff. You dropped some weight, whether it's personal or due to health or whatever. But did
Right.
that ever concern you as far as your ability to hit the drums? Because I know sometimes, you know, a little bit of that, taking some of that away might affect somebody's play or ability to perform. Did that ever cross your mind? And if so, did you have to make any adjustments?
Yeah, I got to throw tons more double bass into everything, and I got to have like stamina and crushing, like, and it's given me, a musical health purpose in life, because I've mentioned this on numerous occasions. Is like, I just turned 58 last week, and I don't think I look 58. I
No.
definitely do not play like
No.
I'm 58. I feel like I'm playing like in my just heart of my 20s, where, I'm playing better than I ever have, with more stamina, and drums are super easy. I know that when I was kind of pushing maximum density, I got up to 410 pounds, and then I got down to 224 pounds, and I put on some since then, but I'm still, I'm like in the 250s right now.
Right.
And I want to take it back down to like somewhere in the 230s or something like that. Even if I can get to the 220s, but doing this deep into my 70s, or now I'm thinking 80s,
Right.
like, not, playing like single metal, just ringing it on the drums.
Right.
That's my intention, not where it's just like, oh, that's adorable. He plays some classic rock and he's, in his 80s. No, man, I want to be granite. So that is the intent anyway. So we'll
Right.
see how that goes, but
Nice.
that usually I get what I want. If I put something out there, man, that's it. I make it happen, So
Right.
by me putting that out there, it seems like a very manageable goal. Playing
Hmm.
brutal, visceral metal deep into your 70s, that's, that's 12 years from now.
Right.
Piece of cake,
Right.
75, that's 17 years from now. That's going to go by in an eye blink,
It does.
So I'm ready for it, and I'm preparing for it, and like I utilize drums as cardio. That's why I don't take days off when I'm at home. When, probably should, like when I get
Right.
off a tour, a lot of there's many times when you got like about 3 days between a tour. Sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a week, but sometimes I have to come home, go right to another tour, and oftentimes that's going to be like the next day. But if there's ever days where it's like, Dark Angel, you get off the road right here, and then you got to go on tour with Dethklok 3 days later, I'm in the studio the next morning, like after we finished our European run, about a month ago, say, the very next morning after flying home we got home at 10 p.m. at night. That next morning at 10 a.m., I'm in the studio setting up to start preparing for this run, rehearsing all the new songs. A, because you just got to keep your chops up, and B, it's good cardio. Get down there and sweat. Like, I would love to sit, lie in bed, sit on my couch, play Gran Turismo 7 or something. That'd be awesome. But this life, this music industry, this life that I lead, it's very important that I'm always prepared for everything. So that's why I'm down at the studio all the time.
Right.
Since December 1st of 2024. I've now taken 4 days off, because up until like this tour, there's 3 days off, but then I've had 4 days off or did
Jeez.
nothing, you know.
Yeah.
One of those days was Christmas, another day was like New Year's, and the other day was, you know,
Wow.
my birthday, I think it
Yeah.
was. So there you go.
Nice. Now, oh, just a few more, couple more questions there. So Gene, as far as when you said cardio, I instantly jumped to the video for strapping the young land detox. Yeah, when you were just playing your ass off on that, and I was like, how's he doing this? I remember watching that video for the first time, and I was like, this can't be. I mean, this is impossible. Just the way you were just kind of, playing your ass off on that thing. And again, big dude, so therefore it's like, wow, that's a feat.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's, I was always an energetic player. Like, I mean, geez, I wish that there was, like a YouTube back in the day of Dark Angel, because you catch the odd shows from
Right.
the 80s of Dark Angel, and the whole crap load of headbanging going on there. No, my neck feels it now. And you're like, right now when I do this, it sounds like a bag of gravel inside my neck.
Wow, yeah.
And everybody knows, if you headbang for your livelihood, you will get that bag of gravel or batter rocks. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, so that's what my neck sounds like to me. So, but yeah, energetic playing, that's fun. These days, I kind of focus my energy. I still energetic, but I know how to make my body last as well. And so for me, I still headbang, but I'm a little more judicious with it. And plus nowadays, it's like the music we play everywhere, just so complicated. Back in the old days in Dark Angels, like just play fast and just go and just let your feet just fly and all that. You bang all day long. I mean, and then when I started playing in Death, I'm like, oh, you got some complex patterns that you're playing now that take a little more concentration. That preclude you from headbanging as much as you wish, but that happens. But there you go.
Who's the drummer that really has caught your eye or ear here recently?
Oh God, there's so many of them. Everybody is so, all drummers now are fantastic. And, it's like, drummers who pull it off live are the ones that you really notice. And, so many guys, like back in the day, like my drum son for the longest time has been Ash Pearson, now from, he's back with the 3 Inches of Blood.
Oh, yeah.
Drummer of Revocation. And he's also going to be doing with my brother Jed Simon. Ash is going to be performing in the Joey Jordison tribute that is coming up. I believe it's in Los Angeles, coming up within the next couple of months or so. They've announced it. It's like a tribute to Joey, And I, they asked if I was going to be available. Unfortunately, I wasn't. But Ash is, and Ash would always be my go-to guy. It's like, hey man, if I can't play something, by all means, have Ash.
Right.
Have Ash come in, because Ash is killer. But I mean, like when you got a few years ago when Sepultura was on tour with Testament, and I'm seeing Eloy Casagrande for the first time, I'm like, what a monster! The man is just gigantic muscle, like it's so killer. And he's just a ball crushing drummer. And now that he's in Slipknot, fantastic. I mean, I thought Jay Weinberg was a fantastic. I mean, you're never going to replace a Joey Jordison. He's got his own sort of feel and things like that. But Jay did a great job, and then Eloy's also doing a great job. And the round robin of drummers. The young man that Sepultura got, I just woke up to my name is anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's so many kick-ass drummers. I'm into everybody that I like. Guys that kind of are bringing their own feel and their own style. Because that's what I always tried to do as a young drummer. Like being an influence is something to aspire to, I guess, when you're young. I knew my peers, when I was a teenager, when I was starting out, my peers were the, Lars Ulrichs and Dave Lombardo's, Charlie Benante, Gar Samuelson's, guys like that. And so I kind of paid attention to everybody's style there. And I was like, well, gosh, your style is not like any of theirs. So you're going to fit in great. Like I didn't play like any of those genres. So trying to bring something to the table that was, I always tried to create beats that hadn't been heard yet. And, I was 18 when we recorded Darkness Descends, and look at the beat from Darkness Descends. That became a classic,
Right.
For another band, a Grammy-winning band. That story's pretty common, so it's not a big deal anymore.
Right.
But, I remember, Sean Reiner was telling me one time when we were having a conversation, he's like, when you put out Darkness Descends and you had like those double bass patterns on That a Certain Life Is Not and Darkness Descends and Black Prophecies and those double bass patterns, I'd never heard, I was a kid, I'd never heard patterns before. And then later, when you're adding the guitar riffs to match the double bass patterns, never heard that before. And that's another thing a lot of folks have kind of pointed out, that we never heard,
Right.
double bass doing some crazy double bass things with the guitar going on top of it, matching it, the machine gun approach.
Right.
You never heard that. And I was like, well, that was something that I hadn't heard either when I was writing that stuff when I was a teenager. I was like, well, I play guitar, I play double bass, I can match the two. Hey guys, here's the new style. And that was just me going, well, all these bands have their own sort of style. Dark Angel has our style involved there too, but this is one more thing that, hey, this could be Dark Angel thing. Like, hey, they're the band that does the double bass patterns with the riff going on, all that kind of stuff. They're the band that does that. And as some of my other associates have pointed out, they're like, that has now become a staple in metal. So, way to go, Dark Angel. So I'm like,
Right.
cool, man. Like, watch you get a rock together. It's all for the
Yeah.
cause of metal. So,
Right.
that there's many things I've done where if it's been able to influence the younger generation,
Yeah.
or even the older generation, guys that were around before us, or with us,
Sure.
they're just Ricks.
Yeah. So we know you were part of a Testament, and I caught you performing with him a couple times. Did Mustaine ever approach you about being joining Megadeth at any point? Because I would seem that your name would be in the mix at any given point when he was going through the rotation of drummers.
Well, as I was recording, we were in the middle of tracking. Maybe it wasn't Titans of Creation. It was the other one. It was the other, what's that one called? Brotherhood of the Snake, I believe it was. I got a text from Chris Adler saying, "Hey, bud, I gotta make a move from here. Can you help out? Can you come to Megadeth?" And I was like, well, let me see, because I knew that at that point, my schedule, I was in this like 4 or 5 month period where it was like going directly from one project to another. A tour with Testament, right to a tour with Death to All, right to the Testament recording, right to the Zimmer's whole show up in, shows up north, to the Dethklok or Galacticon recording, all this stuff going like just nuts to butts. And I'd asked him, I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere 2-3 months down the road kind of thing. And I asked him, when would you need me? And, he was like, can you be on a plane in the morning?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa, holy moly, I'm right in the middle of tracking here. So
Sure.
I'm not the man for the job. I'm not your Huckleberry, unfortunately, but hey, call Dirk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
So like, that's pretty much decided on that, so, but Dave has never personally approached me, but I remember when Stevie D was doing his bass lines for
Oh, yeah.
the next record, Is that the Sick, the Dying, and the Dead? Is that the one that Stevie
Yes.
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did say that Mr. Mustaine had a number of questions about me,
Mhm.
just tasking like, hey, what's Gene like, kind of thing,
Right.
But so that's fun. But no, I've
No.
I've never really been approached, and hey, many that are legends, and they are Dave Mustaine, an absolute godfather to all of us. It's Dave Mustaine's riffs, along with all the guys from Metallica, Gary Holt, the Jim Durkins, all the guys from Slayer, just godfathers to what we do. And, Dave Mustaine is definitely an absolute godfather. So, I just, I understand that they're, planning on retiring soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I know what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
But, hey, kick ass, may Megadeth live forever. Absolutely.
Nice. So the last thing, and then we'll plug the record before I cut you loose, and I'll ask you to do a little intro thing for this piece. But I asked you earlier about a Spinal Tap-esque story that you'd be cool with sharing. I don't know if you have anything come to mind.
God,
Go ahead.
Doing this for so many years, those stories are so many of them that you forget them all. But there's so many times where at the end, the punchline to whatever just happened was like, man, that was a Spinal Tap.
Yeah, right.
God, I've told this story before, but this is just one of thousands. But I remember back in 1989, Dark Angel was on tour, and I'll make this one as brief as possible, and I'll just kind of synopsize it by, we pulled up to a gas station in Dunsmuir, California, and before we knew it, there was, I think, probably 6 highway patrol cars that were all lights ablazing, each pair of officers in the car. So that makes 12 officers with their high-powered rifles pointed at the RV that we were in. I happened to be driving the equipment truck, so I'm watching this from inside the gas station, inside the gas station. I'm just watching this transpire out there. I'm like, there's the RV. There are 6 cop cars, all lights flashing, and now I see all the cops get down the cars, and I see them. They're all, now they got their rifles pointed at the RV. And now there's the guy going, driver, everybody exit the vehicle, one by one, hands up, come lie down on the ground. And, I'm watching my guys from the band, and the gas station attendant, he looks at me, he's like, are you with those guys? And yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'm like, he just asked me, if you are with those guys, he proceeds to tell me what's happening. He's like, every single business, every single gas station, every single hotel and restaurant within a 50-mile stretch has received a phone call from the CHP warning about, apparently, you guys. Are you guys a rolling meth wagon? And kind of, Breaking Bad style.
Yeah.
Way before Breaking Bad. And he's like, because people are drivers on the highway were noticing that there are people inside waving weapons around. And I'm like, oh, trippy. I'm not going to say if there was weapons on that vehicle or not, but then I started going, holy moly. 2 days earlier, we had done an in-store in Utah, Salt Lake City, heavy metal shop. Right next door to the heavy metal shop, there was a toy store that had water pistols that looked like real pistols. And that's everybody's like, dude, it's usually water pistols.
Yes, sure.
They're orange plastic, green plastic, blue plastic, all that stuff. They don't look like actual weapons, but everybody's like, wow, they look like weapons. And so what I think was happening was guys were inside shooting each other with water pistols, and some driver goes,
oh no,
these guys, and this is before cell phones, so they pull off the side of the road, they call the CHP. And so the gas station and that was telling me that the CHP has been following you guys for 50 miles at least. Just, now you guys have pulled up. So we got the warning,
Yeah.
5 minutes ago that be on the lookout for this.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, before I know it, there's
Oh no.
like 6 or 8 of those cops. They didn't put it on the ground. They come rushing the gas station, the lobby or whatever that is, and they pulled me out. My hand.
No.
They set me on the ground, and I've been driving the equipment truck for about 10 hours at that time, so I was pretty tired. So I fell asleep, and then you hear they got everybody on the ground.
Mhm.
The cops, the CHP, and I'm sure they're thinking, these guys are small town cops. They're thinking big meth lab bust, big drug bust,
Yeah.
all that stuff, weapons and all that sort of stuff. You hear somebody from the RB saying, "We found the weapons."
Oh.
Oh shit! They're water pistols. And so yeah, they were. Oh my god! They just came out and they gave us the sternest talking to, like, you've got to learn sport. Wait from water pistols. It's like the private vehicle. We get the
Right.
But okay, yes, sure, officer.
Yeah.
Like you got you guys are free to go, and that was of spinal.
Yeah. Oh my
thing.
God. Awesome.
But, makes for a fun road story later.
Yeah.
There's a million of them.
Yeah. So the record is extinction level event on Reverse Records, right? That's where we can get it. That's where I ordered it. That's where it's coming from. So
Exactly. versatility.com.
yeah. Thanks so much, Gene. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you in Portland, man. We'll see you in
Awesome.
Portland. It'll be
All right.
awesome.
Well, make sure you come up and say hey, man.
Yeah. Thank you so
All right,
much.
brother.
Take
You
care.
good.
Safe travels.
Thank you. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.